Back at it again with the brand again. It is your boy Jingo. This is the Best Kept Secret podcast. Yes, this one has been an anticipated discussion. Basically, and first of all, I just want to say as well that I haven't been active like that for a couple of weeks. My bad. I'm saying that's how life is. I'm saying so. But we're back at it again with the brand again. But now I am here with a special guest. Very, very special. I'm saying? This link up is overdue. I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, with Loise. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, this has been obviously like an overdue link up due to technical difficulties. What I'm saying? That I had to admit, my bad. It was not Loise's fault. It was mine. It was definitely mine. But obviously, like we just thank God that we're here. Right. So, so today's discussion is needed in our society. It's very, very needed. Obviously on a surface, level, on a spiritual level, everything. What I'm saying? In every avenue, this is definitely needed. And today we're going to talk about what? Anxiety. We're going to talk about anxiety.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of people struggle with. You know what I'm saying? And anxiety can affect you to the point that it would just stop everything that you want to do in your life. Do you know what I'm saying? Your calling, everything, it would just stop do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and we're gonna get into this in-depth discussion. And I hope that this discussion actually blesses y'all as we just, put our 2 cents. You know what I'm saying? Just gonna put our 2 cents of experience and etc. like that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing very, what's the word? Nothing technical, nothing that's over the top. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna do it. We're just gonna go with the flow and etc. like that. So Loise, you know what I'm saying? Obviously that we're gonna talk about obviously like our experience and etc. like that. But can you just define what anxiety is to you, just personally? What is anxiety to you?
Okay. So defining anxiety is not the easiest thing to do, but I would say anxiety is, how do I explain it? It's like excessive worry and excessive fear of, something or situation and things like that. So when you look at people who have anxiety, of course there's generalized anxiety disorder, but most times you hear people are anxious about something. Do you know what I mean? So I would say anxiety is excessive worrying. It could be worrying of everything in general, where you have generalized anxiety disorder, or it could just be like excessive worrying in one area of your life. For example, there are people with social anxiety who worry about things like being in public, or just things like that. And it could be like maybe someone has financial anxiety, like just worrying about the future. For example, it's COVID season, oh my God. So I would say anxiety is mostly excessive worrying. And I know that sounds very simple for what anxiety is, but you would be surprised how powerful the mind is when it comes to anxiety and things like that. So that's what I would say.
And you put it very well. And I will also say that in a sense that anxiety, there's always a root for anxiety. I feel like there's a lot of roots to anxiety. Like you said, like it could be a social thing. It could be just stepping out and just doing what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously, like personally, for in terms of my experiences, you know what I'm saying, that I get into, like it took me a lot of years just to get where I want to be because of anxiety. Like personally, I don't think anxiety is what I feel like in the African. We'll get into this anyways, but I feel like in the African culture, these things are not really discussed. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like it should be discussed. Like a lot of parents think that, like what is wrong with you? Why can't you do this like the other kids? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand? It's fair and play to say, the Lord is your strength and just go and do it. You know what I'm saying? But like if you just sit, I feel like parents should sit with their children and obviously like not really just start examining as to why the child is not really stepping out and etc. like that. But like you said, obviously like in terms of your yeah. Yeah, go
Oh no,
on.
I was just gonna say also you can't put away every problem. So there are people that have like life-threatening conditions, and you could be a believer, but you would still go to the hospital and do the needful and stuff like that, which is the same way I personally want people to see mental health, because it's not being talked about. There's been some improvements in the Black community, I must admit, compared to before, but we're not close to where we need to be.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work that needs to be done of like promoting and really, really embracing mental health. We need to get to a place where we're able to talk about mental health comfortably without feeling like we're being judged, and we're able to seek help where needed and, you know, as required.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. But let's get into, in a sense, in terms of like your experience with anxiety. How, okay, so let's start with, in terms of obviously like how, okay, when did you notice it? When did you notice it, and just how it started with you?
Okay, so it's a very long story.
We
I'm
got
gonna
we
try
got
and make
we
it.
got all session. We got all session. Don't worry.
All right. So I graduated from uni in 2017.
Mm,
I was in London, and I decided to go and do a master's at Warwick University, which meant me having to move outside London. And prior to this, I was a very healthy child, you know, or not child, but, you know, individual.
mm,
I hadn't been to like the GP 8 years. I was all good and stuff like that. And then within like few weeks of me getting into Warwick, I think just roughly 2 to 3 weeks,
mm,
I got ill, and it was just so weird because I'm in a new city. I've been used to being in London.
mm,
I don't really know anybody here. Come here to do my masters. Lectures only just started, so you know I haven't really met a lot of people and stuff like that. And I
mm,
got ill, and it was like it was from one thing to another. I remember like the scary part of when I was ill and I thought, okay, I was getting better, was I woke up in the night one day and I could just feel like I was dizzy. Like prior to that, I had never been dizzy in my life. So I didn't really know what dizziness was per se, but
mm,
I knew I was dizzy. That is one thing that I think throughout the course of anxiety, as like the connection with your body is so mad. Like you know when something's going on. So I felt like I just felt like my hands were heavy. Like I
mm.
was I was dizzy, but I didn't know what dizziness was before, but I knew I was dizzy at that point. And I opened my window and I just prayed and I went back to sleep. Now in the morning, I woke up, and as soon as I got up, my room was spinning. I'm like, what? The
Wow.
first thing I remember to do was to go and open my door, because I'm like, just in case anything's about to happen to me, let someone be able to come into my room, because I was in a uni accommodation. So I left my door open. I called the ambulance, and I called a new friend who I just made in the same accommodation, which is very embarrassing because I don't really know this person. And
Mm,
so, long story short, uh, the ambulance came. We said because they were like, you're healthy. If we take you to the hospital, you'll be waiting for 10 hours. So, okay, I stayed back and started to travel on my own, but it just wasn't right because, by the way, what I apparently had was gastroenteritis, which is the stomach bug. But people are like, stomach bug typically goes away within like 3 days to a week. But this was
mm,
me. It was now 2 weeks, 1 month. I just wasn't myself. I was lethargic, tired. I was
mm,
losing weight. I wasn't eating. And then one day I was completing a coursework, and I was like, you know what? Let me order Nando's and try to eat it, because these times I've not been eating well. I've been eating things like corn. I was drinking a lot of Lucozade, ginger beer, eating biscuits,
mm.
crackers. I wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
well. So Nando's, and I think it was on Deliveroo actually. So when the Deliveroo driver, whatever, a rider arrived, I was just like dreading going down. So it's not like I was like, oh my God, I need to go. It was just like, oh, I can't be, like, you know, when you just like, I can't be asked, because I was on the second floor of the
Mm,
accommodation. So I left, went into the lift, and I realized when I got to the ground floor, as I was coming out, I started to feel really funny, like
mm,
really funny. Like I was panting, I was like out of breath. I didn't know what was going on. And then
mm,
I got to the reception, went outside, collected my Deliveroo, and Manando's, and came back inside. And I remember the person at the reception was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I just need to sit here for a bit. And it wasn't getting better. Like at the point when I got to the reception, I wasn't even standing straight. I was like bending. So okay, after a few minutes, I seen that serious. And I said to like the receptionist that, "Can I please get help to go to my room?" And then as he was trying to help me and we got towards the lift, it was like the anxiety or whatever was happening, which will eventually be a panic attack times 2. I was like, I can't do this. I need to go and sit down.
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off. So like, wow, because I'm just thinking a person that would just watch this would be like, man, that's so anxiety for a person that, let's say for a person that has never had anxiety before, they will just think that this is just a sudden thing that just happened. So you're explaining, we'll get to obviously like, because I just want us to break it down in terms of, okay, so this happened
I didn't know
when you, but you didn't know that you had anxiety, right? So was there no build up?
No, I think that was the problem, and I'll explain why it was the problem. I think that was what actually started the anxiety. So eventually, I couldn't go to my room by myself, and none of my friends were around at the time. So I actually called one of my friends who lived opposite my room, and thankfully he was nearly home. He was nearly at the accommodation. So it took 2 of my friends helping me to go, I can't remember how many flights, upstairs, because I was scared of now going into the lift. So when they helped me go on the stairs, it was dramatic, like going up the stairs, like I was like all over the place. Eventually we made it to my room. And as soon as I got in bed, I was calm. Everything subsided. I was like, hold on, what? It didn't make sense. And you just know what is going on. Because remember, I told you I had never been dizzy, but I knew when I was dizzy. Now I was like, I just had a panic attack. This is a panic attack. I'd never had a panic attack. I didn't really like, prior to like this whole experience, I didn't know anything about mental health. I didn't take any active steps to look after my mental health. I was just clueless. I didn't know about anxiety. And I told, anxiety, and it made sense. I just had a panic attack. And then I also, one of my friends whose boyfriend at the time was studying medicine, he was like, his anxiety. I spoke to my GP, his anxiety. So that period now started the beginning of a cycle. So because I had that panic attack, I was scared of having another panic attack. And that fear was causing anxiety. And that anxiety was causing a panic attack. So I remember that time, I didn't go outside for 2.5 weeks at all because I was scared. And I'd said to my friend, okay, please, we need to practice, like, because it was coming up to Christmas and I was going to go home and I didn't even know how I was going to go home. Traveling from Coventry, London, it's not straight. Eventually we can drive rather than me having to get in the train and whatnot. And then I remember like one time I tried to practice like a week before, just going downstairs with my friend. I was like, okay, I need to
practicing. Wow. So this thing led you to practice just to go downstairs. But I just want to say something. So basically so would you say that, when somebody officially has anxiety basically right now, right? It's based off, obviously we understand obviously that the first person experience, but to go further, is it like, does the anxiety now start because, or you don't want to reach that height again of either the panic attack or the experience that you had? So is that why anxiety starts?
Yes, because from my experience and from people I know, with anxiety, what we're actually afraid of when you start having panic attacks is the fear of another panic attack. And that fear causes your body to go into fight or flight mode. So it's a cycle. Because when I don't know a lot about this, but with people who like sometimes they get like anxious, like maybe social anxiety, but they don't have maybe horrible symptoms like feeling sick and hyperventilating, apart from maybe little heartbeats. You find that they talk about anxiety freely. Like they've not had like, I'm not saying it's like the anxiety should be underrated, not at all, but they find that they're still able to do everyday things. Whereas with me, this anxiety now actually made me agoraphobic, which is fear of getting outside. Because in my head, if I was to go into the lift, if I was to go outside, it's not my safe place. I would feel weird. I would that, because okay, when I got to my bed that very first day, I was calm. The anxiety subsided. So that's my safe place. So I don't want to be outside my safe place. Do you see what I mean?
Okay. Wow.
So that first panic attack put me in a situation where I was scared of going into the lift, and I was scared of going into the lift. And eventually, when it was time to come back home for Christmas, just going down the stairs. Now, this is not the lift, but the stairs. I had another mini panic attack. So it's a really long story. I guess I'll be able to like highlight as we go along how it came about. But I think in total, I would say it probably started, I think it started October 2017. And I had, at that time, I thought it was the worst that it would be, but it was actually the worst in 2019. And then I got better.
Wow. Listen, personally for me.
Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I thought my anxiety was the worst, but yours is, maybe I didn't know. Okay, I know that I have anxiety, right? I know that I have anxiety, but you're basically just mentioning all this you just said one thing right now, that you're scared to decide. I didn't, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not very educated about, anxiety the most, but I know for sure that, when you have that fear to really do something, it has to do with anxiety. I understand. Yeah. Obviously it's fear, but fear, like, there's anxiety and there's a lot of things that go under that. You know what I'm saying? There's panic attack, all this like social phobia, all that stuff there. You understand?
With me, I was scared of the physical symptoms, and I got all the symptoms in the world. Like sometimes I would actually feel, when I'm about to have a panic attack or something, I would feel like something is rising from my leg. Like you feel the sensation from your legs up. Like there's feeling sick to my stomach, nausea, churning stomach, hyperventilating, breathing through your mouth. Fast, there's nothing I haven't experienced.
Yeah, I think I have about 5% anxiety. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just comparing it to yours. But yeah, so okay, so how did you, like, let's go into in terms of, like, you've explained in terms of like the effects that it had on you. Do you know what I'm saying? And what's the span? How many years? I mean, how many years or how many months?
I think just under 2 years. I think it was 18 months. I can't remember, but it was from like October 2017 till around March 2019. That was when I started to be a normal human again. And this time, I'm telling you, the anxiety was bad in Warwick. I didn't even know I was going to face worse afterwards.
So would you say that this I think I'm being repetitive, but I just really want to know like the rule of it. So would you say that it was your masters? It was the pressure of you doing masters that it happened?
No, because I started at the beginning of the masters. I think yes. I think, and I just started. I think mine was a panic disorder, in the sense that I had been so used to being so well. Like every time I was with a GP, they would eventually like take me off their system, because if they say come and do checkup, because I hated needles and all of that. I hadn't done the blood test in years. So I think I got so comfortable with being well that when I became unwell, and it really shook me, like, the gastroenteritis and the vertigo, the spinning sensation, and then a panic attack in the lift. I think that was where the problem started, because the thing with panic attack is when you have it once, if you don't deal with it properly, a problem. And I think with me, that's what happened, because at the time I didn't really do anything about it. I think I just asked the doctors to give me medication to stop the feeling sick. I think I did try to like deal with the root of what happened and why that's happened and how I can prevent it from happening. So it was nothing to do with the masters, I don't think.
You don't think, bro, like, because obviously like more times yours is different because obviously like I obviously like everybody knows that I'm a support worker and etc like that, and I literally have a client that suffers from anxiety. Like he literally takes medication such as sertraline, do you get what I'm saying, and metrazine or something like that just to calm him down. Now, for my experience of anxiety, just personally in my life and just observing people that have this medical disorder, there's always a root. There's always a root problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Either they lost a job or they're just overthinking in a sense.
Yeah.
So personally for me,
of the symptoms.
Pardon?
Mine was mostly the fear of the symptoms.
Oh, you're okay. So that is a root problem. So for yours was the fear of the symptom. Like I said, like I think I mentioned to you earlier, that you didn't want to experience that level of anxiety again. You was like, nah, I ain't trying to do this again. So,
and also it was not even up until 2019, 2020 that I realized what caused the phobia. I'm sorry, the symptoms. Basically, I have a phobia called emetophobia, which is weird, don't laugh, but it's basically the fear of vomiting. So anything to do with vomiting. You had that?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. That's associated with phobia and anxiety. Yeah. So yeah, that is the symptoms of it.
Yeah. So, and what's it called? I had very bad emetophobia. I even still have it, and I'm currently doing counseling for it. So I don't like anything to do with vomiting or someone vomiting. So, and basically I found out that when my mom was pregnant for my younger brother, and there's 2.5 years between us, she was throwing up a lot. And when she was throwing up, I would run away crying, and I literally wouldn't let her carry me for like the next 1 to 2 hours. So in my head, subconsciously, I built, I don't know, knowledge or whatever, that vomiting was bad. So, and thankfully, because I was quite healthy. I've not thrown up since I was 10, by the way. So I actually don't know what it's like to throw up. Like it's been over 10 years now that I haven't thrown up. So I can't even remember what it feels like. So obviously when I'm now getting those nauseous feelings, I'm now scared because of that phobia that developed when I was 2 years old. But that was a phobia and that was a problem. But because I wasn't in a situation where I wanted to vomit before that whole thing, the phobia was not rising, whereas now it's all of a sudden, every time I have a panic attack, there's nausea. So that phobia comes up.
Man,
so yeah,
that's crazy. So like I said, obviously like like I guess your symptom, like I said, it obviously was the fear of experiencing it again. And that's and it's so crazy because obviously like when you talk about anxiety, it's like it's just surface based, right? Like it's just surface based. For me personally, I feel like we're just surface based because I feel like, okay, if you just overthink, this is before I even started the support working job. I just thought anxiety is just overthinking or having the fear of just stepping up. That was my definition of it until I went into care and I saw a different type of like the symptoms and the like in terms of like the sweating, you sweat like excessively. This guy if he's really worrying about something or if there's a root problem that leads to his anxiety, he would sweat excessively. Like this guy, like, the pastor that they have handkerchiefs when they preach, like the size of this guy would literally he would literally have a towel just to wipe himself. Do you get what I'm saying? Just like and so crazy. For me personally, yeah, you saying?
I said there are different symptoms and it affects like people differently. So it's so much. And I hear what you're saying. And I think even with me, that was the reason why I struggled to acknowledge anxiety, because I'm like, usually when people have anxiety, they're worried or something. But I'm not just sitting down thinking, oh my God, I have a panic attack. So I didn't think I was overthinking anything. I didn't think, I just started my master's and anxiety, I was doing so well. So there was nothing to really excessively worry about other than the fact that I wanted to be well. I wanted my normal life. I wanted me back. So yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah, like and that is so crazy. Like I feel like maybe yours is more. I feel like you going through what you're going through made me understand. It makes me understand. I hope it makes other people understand in terms of, okay, like this is what anxiety is, in terms of not reaching that height of pain that you don't want to, like, or that experience in a sense, innit? So for me personally,
Basically,
go on. Yeah, you saying?
Because basically the response system that causes anxiety is supposed to be a good thing. So say, for example, if you're maybe scared of snakes and you saw a snake, you'd have adrenaline. Or if maybe you're about to cross the road and a car is nearly about to hit you or something, you would have adrenaline. And that adrenaline is good in the sense that it's supposed to make you either fight the situation, like face it and deal with it, or flight, which is take off. With like a snake or with a car trying to run you over, you would probably run away. That is a good response in the sense that it's helping you keep safe and stay alive. But when it's a problem is when anxiety, because your body is now thinking there is danger, when in the real sense there's no danger. So that's how it works.
Man, like literally. Woo. Yeah. I heard about the flight. It's either you fight it or
fight
or flight.
Yeah, it's either you stay. It's either you stay and fight it or you flee. And most of us that don't like the symptoms of panic attack, we flee. We want to take flight. We don't want to be experiencing like the whole physical symptoms and things like that.
But I guess the reason why you're flight is because, like, on a normal basis, when you have a certain anxiety, like, oh, like, listen, I'm about to. I remember I used to do acting, right, for performing arts, and I would have this anxiety of just like stepping out and just doing acting, But once I'm in the situation, it's like I'm facing it. You understand? So exactly. I wouldn't have, obviously, like on paper, I wouldn't have the symptoms of just sweating and just gasping for air in the middle of the stage. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like crazy how some people react to it, like in the sense that, okay, like I know that on paper I need to face this, but if I face this, man's passing out. Like
it's so funny you say that, because there's this theory about anxiety that when anxiety goes up and reaches a peak, it comes down. So anxiety cannot go up. So with anxiety, when you're anxious or you're having a panic attack, one of the most effective ways for you to overcome that panic attack and whatever is for you to actually stay there and experience it and feel what you're feeling. But some of us, when we're in a panic attack, I'm thinking, how do I get home? I want my bed. I need to sit down. I need to lay down. Whereas that is just feeding more fear. That is showing your body that, okay, I've been aroused that this is a dangerous situation to fight or flight. And it's true because you're reacting this way. So next time when you're in this situation, I will turn on the fight or flight again because it's dangerous. So you see what I mean? Whereas if you stay in a situation, and it's easier said than done, because even till now, I don't think I can stay calm in a panic attack. And that's the truth. So, whereas now, if you were in a situation of a panic attack and you stayed in the panic whilst panicking and having all the symptoms, and you're breathing, like taking deep breaths and calming yourself and saying, it's okay, it's not dangerous, and anxiety passes, there's a likelihood that next time your system will remember that, oh, that wasn't that dangerous. I just alerted myself for nothing. Because also one thing with anxiety is it uses a lot of energy because your body is pumping more adrenaline and more energy levels than you need to pump at any single time. So obviously, with anxiety, you actually need to feed it. So you need to keep worrying. You need to keep avoiding what it is that's causing the anxiety to feed you. Whereas if you are facing things head on, which again is easier said than done, the anxiety reaches a peak and it comes down. It's just weird.
Yeah. And obviously, like you're right about in terms of for personally for me, like I said, obviously, like this is not a topic that I'm really educated about. Like, and it's really sad because I'm a support worker. But that means that shows that me, I don't even pay attention to my job. But hear me out. But obviously, through personal experience, like I'll just share one experience like that I had concerning anxiety. My camera's doing a madness, but just bear with me. So basically, I was so at the time my client used to go to work. So basically, what we do is in the morning, you know, one of the staff will take him to work, and that was me basically. You know what I'm saying? So and so like basically there was a build up. There was definitely a build up. So basically, the night before, I was just over, like for me personally, I just overthink about like literally like where I want to stay, where I want to be in the next 5 years. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I just put myself in a, you know, like basically like do you know a certain door that God has not really opened yet? But let's just say He has shown you, okay, this is where you're gonna be in 5 years, but you ain't ready for that yet. Mentally, like spiritually, you're not there. Jingle, don't enter there yet. Work on yourself or whatnot. But I will go to that. I'll go to that place. I'll go to that place and explore it when I'm not even ready to step into that place yet. So now I'm looking at myself like, oh wow, like I want to be here, but my situation looks like this. And let's say, for example, obviously I come, obviously, like, you know, I come from a poor home and etc. like that. No, I wouldn't say poor home, but a working class background type of thing. And I'm saying that obviously we struggle and etc. like that. So it's like I really want to accumulate certain things, before, you know what I'm saying, like before this grandma, you know, passes away, you know, all this stuff. So there was a build up. I was thinking about all these things, literally, and it felt like so basically the middle of my chest, it felt like something was sitting on it. It's like that was the build up. So basically, I was like, wow, what's going on? Like now I can't even breathe. Like I'm saying, like, and I was like, wow, like it's mad. And as we just obviously like got out the door and etc. Like on my way on his way to me taking to work, like it felt like 3 bricks was on my chest, and I was like, raw. I couldn't understand what was going on, and now I'm really trying to firm it. I'm really trying to firm it with the service user because he has anxiety as well. So I'm really trying to, but I couldn't even talk no more, and I was like, listen, when I saw that sharp pain in my chest, I was like, listen, I told him, you know, call the ambulance. You better call the ambulance right now because I don't feel right. Long story short, you know, like I believe, you know, one of the staff like obviously like rushed me to the which one, to the emergency or what? Not emergency, like, to A&E and etc. like that. And I thought it was a heart problem. I literally thought it was a heart problem because now because personally I'm thinking like raw, like because I have obviously like in my family there's a history of heart problems and stuff like that. I'm like, nah, man, I'm saying I ain't gonna be like one of, you know what I'm saying, like nah, Jesus, I'm too young. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Only 24. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least let me live. Was that like? But anyways, but basically I get there, and the doctors are telling me, nah, it's not a hard problem because I was waiting for like, oh, Jingo, like, yeah, I think you had a episode of just, you know, just you have a heart disease or something like that. It seems to, because I was taking my mind there. They were like, nah, I don't think this is a heart problem. This is anxiety. What do you mean anxiety? Do you know what I'm saying? That's when I was introduced now, like officially about what anxiety is. I'm like, well, like, no, I think you had an anxiety episode, and I guess, you know, like you had that, like a panic attack type of thing. Do you get what I'm saying? And it opened the door, like I was like, right. Do you get what I'm saying? So overthinking can lead you to have anxiety like that. Because personally, I was always scared just to step out and do stuff in it. Do you understand? But I never had an episode. You get what I'm saying? I was either just scared and flat, and I'm like, you know, I ain't trying to do it. But I'm saying, bro, just build courage and do it. You get what I'm saying? But this time, you're telling me, like, quote unquote, that I have a panic attack just for overthinking. And that's why, and that's where I did a little bit of like research and etc. like that. Do you get what I'm saying? And yeah, like obviously, in terms of obviously like anxiety that we've said, like obviously like our experiences, and in terms of obviously like how it starts and how it builds up and etc. like that. But obviously you've mentioned that you are going therapy, right? You're going therapy for it right now, and that is amazing. Let's
Yes,
just say
that's different. So I had therapy for it, but then I realized that even though I started, I was better, and and I've now realized that there's still the underlying fear of vomiting, the emetophobia. So I'm now doing therapy to get rid of that phobia. So I did a separate therapy for like just the whole generalized anxiety, because I thought, okay, that was just generalized anxiety. But I've now realized that that fear of vomiting of people or people around me vomiting is still there. So I think I started therapy in January. So I'm now doing therapy to get rid of the fear. For example, last week on Friday, we did exposure therapy, where I had to look at pictures of people throwing up, which is nasty. And I know, and I'm going to have to look at, I'm going to have to listen to people throw up as well. Just to, yeah, so yeah, that's not fun, but we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, and I believe that is basically because I did my research. There is a I didn't want to do a lot of that, but obviously that the most common therapy that they recommend you, or people that anxiety, the people that have anxiety do is CPT, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you do. So it's
Behavior
called
therapy.
cognitive behavioral therapy. So so that you're going
that it shape your thinking, because when you shape your thinking, you shape your behavior. So for example, with my fear of vomiting, when I'm exposed to vomiting situations, and I talk through vomiting and all of that with my therapy, then in my mind I can start to shape my mind and see, okay, vomiting is not dangerous. Yes, it's disgusting, but it's not dangerous. It doesn't kill. Even if you experience it, you would get through it. And then that way I will now not be, over time, if I continue doing these things, I won't be as scared. I won't be scared of the symptoms. I won't be scared of people around me vomiting, because right now probably everyone finds vomiting disgusting, because it is disgusting, but not everyone finds it a reason to panic or to get anxious about. So
but
yes.
Would you say that it helps though? Like, because I read, oh my god, listen, my camera is doing a madness, Can you see that? Can you see it? Like the blurriness and the
No.
Oh, so for you it's clear.
Yeah, it looks normal.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it looks normal.
Oh, okay. Like I think it's just me. Hey, but anyways, for in terms of in terms of how it helps, what I've read is, and I think that and it caught my eye. It just reduces. So it just reduces it. Basically, it just reduces the anxiety, in a sense.
Not really, because the thing is, how do I explain it? The thing is, with things like drugs, they're good, but most times drugs are probably more effective with CBT, in the sense that CBT is trying to get you to challenge your thinking.
Okay, so you have to do it with the medication. So basically, sertraline. So if it will give you, is that it?
So the thing is, I don't normally tell people it has to be sertraline or whatever, because they're different medications. And
yeah,
when you
I'm
go
just familiar
online,
with sertraline, because that's why I give my client. But obviously,
yeah, sertraline is one of them.
Yeah.
But what I'm there's like different types, and there are people who use just medication. There are people who use just therapy. There are people who use both. But for me, I don't know what I can't really say that therapy just reduces anxiety. But what I can say is therapy does take a long time to work, because when you're trying to change your thinking from a negative way of thinking to positive, it takes a long time. And this is, if you want to even outside anxiety, even for those who don't have anxiety, you find that your mind is a battlefield. In a day, I can't remember, I think they said there's like, we think like 70,000 thoughts in a day, and like a quarter of it is negative. So you can imagine, so even with people that don't have anxiety, you can imagine how much negative thoughts go through your mind each day. Now then think about someone who's got anxiety. And many times anxiety is as a result of, I don't want to say wrong thinking, but like irrational fear or overthinking. So for example, like even with driving tests, sometimes people get anxiety over that because, oh my God, a lot of people fail this. Oh my God, what if I don't make it? So like you can have anxiety over anything. Like sometimes even like with newborn, with new parents who've just had a child, you'd be thinking, oh my God, it's a blessing and whatnot. And it is a blessing, but then there are people that have like the postpartum or whatever, depression or anxiety. So basically what I'm trying to say is you can have anxiety or depression over anything, literally anything. That is mad. Yeah.
And rightfully so, in terms of like, obviously, for me personally, I'll just say that, like anxiety, like I highlighted before, like anxiety has really stopped me do. It can stop you to do a lot of things, and that's what it did for many years for me. Like, even starting this podcast, believe it or not, like I thought of this idea in 2018. I started this. I thought of this idea in 2018, but because of the fear of just stepping out and just doing this, it messed up my mind. Like it just messed up my mind. Like I started overthinking to the point that my heart started racing. And do you get what I'm saying? And I just had it took me a long time just to, do you get what I'm saying? Anxiety is crazy. And you also mentioned one thing that is either, I feel like for me personally, we mentioned that there's excessive anxiety and there's just surface-based anxiety. Do you get what I'm saying? And I would say anxiety is a normal experience. It's a normal human experience. It's a normal human experience.
Yeah.
I feel like, like you said, it's either you face the situation or you just fly. Sometimes respectfully, your system in your body will respectfully just allow you to fly the situation. You know what I'm saying? For many years, that was me. But as for you, like you said, like it was a matter in a sense. Do you understand? So it's like, my question is here, right? My question is here. So, how do you cope with anxiety? Like, obviously, in terms of, okay, you go therapy, but what is your day to day? What is your day to day? Like, what do you do?
So, okay, I give some tips of what I do. Firstly, I must say though, I don't have the anxiety that I had before, where I think at the time I was weighing 42 kg at the start of 2019. I think I lost way over 30 kg of weight. I was so small. Like I was like, my neck was long. I was so small and like fragile, and it wasn't. But what I did to help me is I had therapy, and I'm a Christian, so I prayed regularly. I tried to meditate on my Bible. I do affirmations. So I actually have, like, if I show you 1 second. So I have like something called like a safety box, and then like in the safety box I basically have like Bible verses. I basically have like things that I say to myself. So for example, this says, I, Loise, am clothed with strength and dignity. I laugh without fear of the future. I have like so many like things like that. Just trying to see. I have things like affliction will never rise again. I can do all things through Christ Jesus.
You better speak it. You better speak that.
I can face and defeat my fears. Lois, not for God is with you, blah blah blah. So just things like that. So I'm always having this close to my bedside. So if something pops up, I take it and read everything I've written. This one says, I'm totally restored physically, mentally, emotionally, and otherwise. I come against the spirit of fear, anxiety, and phobias of every kind.
In the
So
name of the
just like I
rebel
haven't actually
Sakeke by man, I feel it.
actually
I feel
did.
the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. So I have that, and I also listen to a lot of positive music. I also